Welcome back to Blockchain Ardor. I'm your host, Crypto Demetrius. Thanks for tuning in. This is a series funded by Gellerita dedicated to tours and tutorials of the applications and functionalities available on the world's first solar-powered multi-chain ecosystem, Ardor. New features were just released by Gellerita on testnet, and in this installment, I'll be providing two demonstrations of the new transaction voucher feature. Transaction vouchers make it simple for users to send dual signature fixed invoices between two addresses on the blockchain. This sounds insignificant, but it's a major step forward for mainstream adoption of blockchain technology. Before we get started, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel to stay updated as new episodes of Blockchain Ardor are released. Now, rule number one on the blockchain. The blockchain is immutable. This means transactions are irreversible. If you make a mistake entering a recipient address, or if you enter too many zeros at the end of the amount you are sending, you can send your funds into oblivion or bankrupt yourself with no recourse. This is clearly not a sustainable design for businesses to operate with thousands of users on the blockchain. The risks are simply too high for losing user funds. With the invention of transaction vouchers on the Ardor platform, you can now create secure fixed invoices between two accounts, essentially eliminating the risks mentioned a moment ago. This feature is available for many types of transactions across Ardor and its child chains, including those involving assets, monetary supplies, and the marketplace. Let's take a look at how transaction vouchers work by walking through a basic example. Then, we can take some time to discuss and demonstrate additional use cases. In this first demonstration, I'll be creating a transaction voucher on the Ardor parent chain in 2 minutes, but the process is essentially the same when using child chains. To begin using transaction vouchers, you need to install Ardor Testnet Client version 2.1.0e on your computer. Navigate to Gellerita.com and then scroll down to the Ardor Installers section. You will need to select version 2.1.0e for either Windows, Mac, or Linux. It's essential that you remember to click the testnet option during the installation process. Now that you have the testnet wallet, let's complete an example of how to set up a transaction voucher. Pretend you need to invoice BigCorp for $200 of services that you provided in July 2018. You already know how much they owe you, and you know their wallet address because it's listed in your employment agreement. All you need to do is the following. Open the testnet wallet. On the screen, you see the two addresses we are concerned with for this practice exercise. Your personal address for receiving the payment, and the address of BigCorp for sending the payment. Let's copy the address for BigCorp and log in as them. You're now unofficially logged in as BigCorp. You should confirm the wallet address in the upper left corner matches the wallet address in your contract. BigCorp owes you $200 worth of Ardor. As of August 18, 2018, that means approximately 1,702 Ardor. Click Send Ardor in the menu at the top of the screen. Then, enter your personal address as the recipient. Enter 1,702 Ardor as the amount. Click the box next to voucher, and then enter the passphrase for your personal address. Check the details are correct, and then click Submit. If you are submitting this for a child chain, you will have to click Calculate the minimum fee, then Submit. This generates the transaction voucher as a JSON file and a QR code. There should be a download button we can click here at the top, or you can also just copy the JSON data and then send the file to BigCorp through email or some other means. Once you have completed this process, you're done. When BigCorp receives the transaction voucher, they'll be able to see that you entered your own recipient address, the amount to be paid, and it was signed by you. So they know you have reviewed this transaction and approved it. The details of this transaction voucher are tamper-proof, but it's important to understand nothing in this process occurs on the blockchain until the actual transaction fee is paid by BigCorp when they upload the voucher and submit it. So, if we notice a small error in the voucher information, we can discard the file and simply create a new one. Let's see what BigCorp needs to do in order to redeem this transaction voucher or invoice. BigCorp opens up the Ardor testnet wallet and logs in using their wallet address. They navigate to the gear symbol in the upper right corner to open the settings menu and click on the load voucher option. Then, BigCorp will click Choose File and select the JSON file that we sent them. They'll click Open. The details of the transaction voucher will load in the pop-up box. BigCorp checks the details, enters their passphrase, clicks Calculate for the lowest fee, and then hits Submit. After that, the transaction is submitted on the blockchain. That's the basics of how to create your first transaction voucher. Now, users can ensure they're sending funds between their correct wallet addresses. Friends can securely invoice each other, just like they do on Venmo and Apple Pay. And businesses can be certain they're sending funds to the correct individuals when invoiced. Let's take this one step further and consider two slightly more complex use cases for transaction vouchers. If you've ever withdrawn funds from a cryptocurrency exchange, you know the process is risky. Many times, you need to include randomly generated messages from the exchange alongside your receiving address. This has resulted in the loss of thousands of dollars worth of cryptocurrency because people are people. Human error exists, and sometimes we copy and paste the wrong receiving addresses or messages. Now, if crypto exchanges wanted to eliminate help desk tickets associated with people who send their money to the wrong exchange address, or people who fail to include messages in their withdrawals, exchanges like Bittrex and Binance could use transaction vouchers to create secure deposit and withdrawal vouchers. Consider the situation for one moment. You tell Bittrex you want to move 4,000 Ardor to a certain address. The Bittrex system would create a secure voucher signed by Bittrex for this transaction. Then, you would upload this voucher in your wallet, sign the transaction, and receive your funds. Remember one of the major selling points here. Your secret passphrase can only sign transactions for your wallet address. So, if you entered the wrong receiving address by mistake when you requested the voucher, then you would not be able to sign this transaction. You would discard this voucher and simply request a new one from the exchange. This dual entry system essentially eliminates the potential for sending funds to the wrong address. Let's consider another use case and do a demonstration. What if you run an ICO or you want to distribute shares in the blockchain and you want to issue your tokens in a secure way? Perhaps you don't want to just disperse 100 million tokens, and instead you want each investor to sign off on receiving the correct amount of funds at the correct address. Well, we can do this too with transaction vouchers. Let's take a moment to look at how we could create a transaction voucher for an asset on the Ignis child chain. If you do not know how to create an asset in the first place, a guide is included in the video description. Log into the Ignis child chain in the testnet wallet and navigate to Assets and then click My Assets. You'll notice I have two assets here that I have created in the past. I will click the Transfer button next to the CD Test 1 asset. For the recipient address, I will enter the address of an individual who participated in this imaginary ICO. Then, I will enter the quantity of the assets they should receive. Third, I will check the voucher box, and fourth, I will enter my passphrase. Once I'm happy with the information, I click Calculate Minimum Fee, and then Submit. Download the transaction voucher, just like in the previous example. Now, I can send this file to the ICO participant, and they can follow the same voucher redemption process that I demonstrated earlier to claim their assets. If your ICO used a monetary supply instead of assets, transaction vouchers will still work. And if you decide to use the marketplace, you can create transaction vouchers in those contexts as well. That's all the time we have for transaction vouchers. As you can see, the transaction voucher process can be completed in just a few minutes. Individuals and businesses can now sign off on blockchain-based transactions with confidence, knowing that the JSON file and QR code vouchers are secure and customized to each individual transaction. This represents a major leap forward in creating a secure ecosystem where individuals and businesses can send funds without worrying about small, irreversible mistakes. If you're interested in more details on the transaction voucher functionality, feel free to check out the additional resources included in the video description. I'll be back again soon with another episode of Blockchain Ardor. Until then, please like this video and subscribe to the Crypto Demetrius and Jalarita YouTube channels. Thanks for tuning in to the 5th installment of Blockchain Ardor.